Hi friends, this is the next video in this little series I'm doing where I'm showing you how I use textures and also how I make textures, and I'm about to use Photoshop to make a thatched roof texture to go on the little cottage that I've been making. Here are some examples, and I'm going to use this, have this up on my other screen while I set this a little reference. Hopefully make a nice thatch texture with you. I got distracted there. First thing we need to do is make sure we're doing it at the right angle for this roof. So we just made this in another video. If you didn't see it, it'll hopefully be linked somewhere around here and you can go see it. So what I've done is I've drawn a line, same angle as this roof, and I'm just going to drag into this place, and here we go. So I think I already did that. Yeah, we already did that, so I'm going to use that one. Let's label this for no particular reason, but there we go. And I think what I'm going to do to start off is tilt this so that this is straight up and down. So that'll make it a little bit easier on me. And I'm going to use a bunch of these brushes that are all kinds of different textures and what have you. Which these brushes I think are from a pack by Lin Chen. Check I've got that name right. Yeah, Lin Chen brush set 2018, which you can download at pay what you think is right. So I recommend you have a look at that if you're going to do something like this, where just making nice marks on the page is really useful. And I'm also using this little dye palette, which is just something I made myself, using colors that are based on colors that you can use natural dyes to create. So I made it basically for the colors for my characters that I make, so that they have a vaguely uniform feel, and they kind of match up and they make sense for the period. Well, not that there really is a period, but you know what I mean. They're not neon colors apart from probably this guy. Don't worry about him. Okay, I'm just putting marks on the paper here pretty much. Trying to keep it in this shape. Not worrying about anything matching up currently. We'll come to that later. Just trying to make something nice. So I think on top of that, I'll put a few lighter colors. Oh, that's a bit too intense. I'm just using the eyedropper here to, well, I was trying to use the eyedropper color. Accidentally paint instead. Use eyedropper to pick up the color and then paste it onto here. Interesting brushes. Gonna make it a little bit chunky so it has some interest, but make sure the repeats aren't too obvious when we put it on the roof. I'm very obviously not looking to recreate exactly what Thatch looks like, especially not here, where I'm just pasting down colors. Extra. But we'll refine it as we go and see what we like the look of. Where was this one? If you're cleverer than me, you'll pay attention to which brushes you use to find them again, but apparently capable of, and we just have to do trial and error forever. So we're getting a few things down on here. It looks kind of fun. I think I'll put it back up upright. Let's get rid of this for a second while we look at it. It's interesting. And okay, what I'm going to do is drag it around a little bit so that it covers the whole of the screen. And I'm going to merge all of those down. And now I'm going to crop it. Make sure I'm pointing at my screen. You can't see that, but here, make sure delete cropped pixels is selected. Press enter. Okay, and now here's the little magical part, which is go to filter, other. In fact, I'm going to make an action of this so that it's easy to do again and again. I've already made one. I'm just going to record it now. It's bound to F5. So filter, offset, other, offset, and then I'm going to alter it so that this is what was in the top edge. If I go to roughly 0 and 0, you can see it as I drag. So as we drag it over, that's going to the center. And then as we drag it up, that's going to the center. So, okay, so now what we can do is keep painting. Use the rough brushes we've got to erase those lines. We can also use the healing tool, but it won't do that much at this point. Blur it in a little bit, but you can still see that in general that they don't overlap. Let's just keep picking out the nice brushes. And on my guide again, just to make sure. Yeah, I'm going slightly off here, so try and going in that general direction that my guides are showing me I should go in. I'll do a little bit in the middle here to cover up those harsh edges that we just made when we used the offset, and then we will use the action. Oh, you need to remember to stop your action once you've done. So this did the offset and then painted everything on, but we don't want any of that, so I'm going to delete everything after the offset. Remember to do that, kids. Okay, so we're going to just use the offset, play that, and then it's moved again. And because it's bound to F5, I'm going to remove my guide so you can see what's happening. Press F5 and it will keep doing it. So you can use that to make sure that your pattern's always seamless everywhere. So this bit is especially noticeable. I wish I remember which brush this one was. I'll find it eventually. Over this. Color again. Do this on separate layers on top, but I find it better to just commit and go for it, and maybe you'll make mistakes, but you know, there's well, no real right or wrong, there's just a quicker route to the finish line if you're lucky, but it's all just trial and error, so just keep at it. Losing some of the definition there, but that's okay. Don't want it to be too noticeable where the repeats are, and any areas of high contrast really draw your eye and make the repeats really noticeable. But I do like having it a bit rough and ready because, like I said, we're not going for realistic. In fact, I'm going to do top because I do like what I've got currently. I don't want to make it too streaky, so I don't like what I just added there. I'm going to delete it. So we got, nope, not into that either. A bit more with this color. Got Thatch was using. This is quite nice. That's fun. And the thatch isn't the length of the straw that you see. It's the ends of the straw picking out. I don't even know if it's straw actually. It's just the three little pigs in me. Straw. Who knows what thatch is made out of really? I should look it up. Yeah, I think this is starting to look like what I want it to look like. I keep pressing F5 when you see it moving, which is doing the offset. and sending the edges to the middle so that I can make sure that it matches up. I think I want a little bit of some lighter color in here. Let it on top just so I don't, in case I hate it. Very light, so that's not quite light enough. So somewhere in between those two. Yeah, that's a bit of something. But maybe a little bit of a different color like this. Or right either. Let's in. Down, yep. Gonna pick it out of too harsh. But I do like having some of these splotches on. Razor tool. Nope. Okay, this is on the same layer, so I won't use the razor tool. Let's see. Just get back a little bit. I like it when it goes too fuzzy. Although, I guess they kind of are a little bit fuzzy. This is looking alright. I'm going to make sure I shift. I think I'm going to need to spread this color through. Doesn't stand out too much, and maybe knock it back a little bit as well. Take a little bit more of this yellow. Brighter color in the darker bits, and the darker color in the... I don't want to say neutralize it, but make it somewhere in between. Okay, I think what we need to do now is just test it out. So that we get a better idea of what we need to do with it. Take it. I think it's looking pretty neat actually. So we've got it there. I'm just gonna set it a couple of times and see if there's any glaring bits that really stand out and knock those back. Otherwise they'll be super obvious. Step 4, my mistake. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go image, edit, define pattern. I'm not going to worry about its name yet because it's not finalized at all. Here's our little cottage. I've got this roof tile ready already. Here it is, it's this one. I'm going to apply the pattern we just made and see how it looks, and then we can... Okay. So, looking all right. I think we need this dark stripe is very repeaty and stands out a lot. I think I make a little bit more uniform this lighter color going through, because this also repeats very clearly and starkly. Make that lighter color go across it a lot. That might work out. But what I'm going to do, in fact, is do that on a new layer above. Let's see. What kind of... How do I want to add it? I don't think I want it stripy. I think I want... Yeah, maybe I'll use this guy again. Okay, and I'm going to press F5 again. Actually, I'm going to make sure that it's cropped right. Yeah, looked like it was anyway. It's worth checking, and I'm pressing F5 again. Oops. That's my brush tool. Adding this on. Pressing F5 again, making sure there's any gaps or bits that need filling in. Turn it off for a second and remember that this dark stripe was throwing it off. So let's just neutralize that bit. Maybe I'll use the healing. Just get back ever so slightly. Yeah. Okay. But you still have some bits where the darker shows through that shows a little bit of depth. Okay, turning that layer back on and let's define pattern, not that its name, and let's update that Thatch. Okay, it's starting to, but this is a bit too much for me. So what I think do is merge that down. Let's see, just on top. Work with it again to just make it a little. Check our guides. We need to use those guides while I do that. Just soften it all a bit. Texture. Slightly more uniform. It's out a little bit too much at the moment. Just look at it again. Yeah. The high contrast areas between this lighter texture on top is really making it too busy, but I do like the way that that makes it look like ends of the straw sticking out like it's supposed to. Okay. You know what? Just in case this goes wrong, at this point I'm going to duplicate the texture and then merge this in. And F5 to offset it. And there we go, we can see this really dark bit here. I'm going to blend that down. Could also make adjustments using adjustments layer like curves and whatever, but I think the more I add by hand, the richer the texture is. Okay, I'm gonna F5 to offset again. To mute some of all this texture. It's looking pretty nice now, I think. Just as a thing itself. Yeah, it's quite pleasing to the eye. I think this might be a mistake, so I'm going to do it here. I think strokes that are. I should have really paid attention to which were rich. In the direction of these guides to make sure that it feels going the right way. Okay, press F5 again. That one was too much. Getting rid of him. And let's turn the guide to turn the opacity of them down a little bit. Okay, let's try again. Edit. Find pattern. Date it. I think this one is much more soft. Yeah. You know what? I think that's almost there. The only thing that stands out to me is still this chunk. So let's see if I can see where that is. Hard to identify right now. Is it this bit or this bit? It's this bit. Center. Okay. going to tone this guy down. I think the one thing I could add is a few shadows, but I think what I'm going to do is just let myself do that on the individual images so that they go. Don't like what I just did there, so I'm going to go back a little bit. Flattened it too much. Where are you? Okay, well, never mind. This one. There we go. There we go. We've made a texture, and we can use it as a thatched roof texture. Let's make a final one. Might not be final. I'll probably tweak it a lot still. Update it. Still showing up, but less than before. Let's go from started, and then we built it, softened it. Actually, so but this is about there, I think. Just needs some shading and adding on the other side, and then it'll start looking, really looking like some thatched roof cottage, I think. So I'm going to leave it there, and you'll see this appear in the next video where I finish up this cottage. Okay, enjoy.